Welcome to the battlefield of wealth, where money never sleeps. This is Greedonomics.
Imagine watching the future of trucking drive right in front of you. A sleek, futuristic semi-truck. Zero emissions. Hydrogen-powered. A machine that promised to change the transportation industry forever. Investors couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some called it the next Tesla. Others believed its founder would become the next Elon Musk. Billions of dollars poured into the company. Its market value briefly surpassed Ford, a company that had spent more than a century building millions of vehicles. There was just one problem. The revolutionary truck everyone admired wasn't actually driving. One promotional video would become one of the most infamous corporate deceptions in modern history. This is the story of Nikola Motors. The company that sold the future, before it even existed. The year was 2015. Electric vehicles were becoming mainstream. Tesla had proven that EVs could be exciting. But while Tesla focused on passenger cars, one entrepreneur believed the biggest opportunity wasn't on city streets. It was on America's highways. That entrepreneur was Trevor Milton. His idea sounded revolutionary. Instead of diesel-powered trucks, America would use hydrogen fuel cell semis. They would travel hundreds of miles, refuel quickly, produce zero emissions, and eventually replace traditional freight transportation. It sounded like the perfect solution. Governments wanted cleaner transportation. Investors wanted the next trillion-dollar industry. And trucking companies wanted lower operating costs. Nikola claimed it would deliver all three. The company was named after Nikola Tesla, the inventor whose work also inspired Tesla Motors. From the beginning, the branding was ambitious. Everything looked futuristic. Every presentation promised disruption. Every interview painted a picture of an inevitable revolution. The media loved it. Investors loved it even more. Unlike traditional automakers, Nikola wasn't selling vehicles. It was selling hope. Beautiful computer renderings. Concept trucks. Ambitious timelines. Massive promises. Trevor Milton became one of Silicon Valley's most charismatic founders. He spoke with complete confidence. He claimed Nikola possessed groundbreaking battery technology. He talked about hydrogen stations across America. He promised trucks that would outperform diesel competitors while costing less to operate. Every announcement generated headlines. Partnerships with major companies added credibility. Soon, Nikola had secured billions in pre-orders. People believed the future had already arrived. But behind the scenes, very little actually existed. Many of the technologies being promoted were still under development. Some hadn't even been built. Yet the company's valuation kept climbing. Sometimes perception becomes more valuable than reality. And that's exactly what happened. In June 2020, Nikola went public through a SPAC merger. SPACs were the hottest investment trend on Wall Street. Instead of proving success first, companies could raise enormous amounts of money based on future expectations. Nikola became one of the biggest winners. Its stock exploded. Its valuation reached nearly $30 billion. For a brief moment, Nikola was worth more than Ford. Think about that. Ford had factories around the world. Millions of vehicles on the road. Thousands of engineers. Over a century of manufacturing experience. Nikola had almost none of that, yet Wall Street believed. The dream was simply too exciting. Investors feared missing the next Tesla. So they ignored the warning signs. Then came the promotional video. Its title was simple: Nikola 1 in motion. The truck appeared to glide effortlessly along an open highway. The footage suggested the vehicle was operating exactly as promised. Powerful, smooth, fully functional. It became one of Nikola's most effective marketing tools. Investors saw proof. Customers saw progress. The media saw innovation. But the truth was very different. According to later investigations, the truck wasn't powered by its electric or hydrogen system. Instead, it had been towed to the top of a hill. Then released. Gravity did the rest. The truck simply rolled downhill while cameras recorded it from flattering angles. One of the most convincing demonstrations of advanced technology was actually physics. In September 2020, everything changed. Hindenburg Research published a devastating report. Its title was impossible to ignore. Nikola: How to Parlay an Ocean of Lies into a Partnership with the Largest Auto OEM in America. The report accused Nikola of misleading investors for years. It challenged claims about battery technology, manufacturing capability, hydrogen infrastructure, and the famous truck video. The market reacted immediately. Nikola's stock collapsed. Investors panicked. News outlets around the world picked up the story. Trevor Milton denied the allegations, but regulators had already begun paying attention. The SEC launched an investigation. The Department of Justice opened a criminal probe. The pressure became overwhelming. Within days, Trevor Milton resigned. The company that once symbolized the future had become a symbol of corporate hype.
The electric truck company Nikola is being charged in an alleged scheme to defraud his investors.
Now, the indictment claims that Trevor Milton used his massive social media platform and TV appearances to inflate his company's stock price. NBC News investigations correspondent Tom Winter joins us now to talk a little bit more about this. So, Tom, the prosecutors called this scheme audacious, is the word that they used here. What stands out in these allegations to you?
We can use a whole lot of other adjectives, too. I mean, you know, when you look at this, if the allegations are proven true here, this is spectacular fraud. This is a company that has not yet really made a product that they have sold, that they have actively put out there. Meanwhile, you've got Trevor Milton, its founder, who's a billionaire in and of himself. He didn't need the money. Out there tweeting, oh, we've sold out of pre-orders, we've sold out of this or that, we're ready to go.
The investigations continued for years. Prosecutors argued that Trevor Milton repeatedly made false statements about Nikola's technology and business progress. These statements, they claimed, convinced investors to buy shares based on inaccurate information. In 2022, a federal jury found Milton guilty on multiple fraud charges. The verdict marked one of the biggest corporate fraud convictions of the electric vehicle era. Nikola itself survived. The company continued developing trucks and attempted to rebuild trust. But the damage was enormous. Its reputation had been shattered. Its stock had lost most of its value. The dream that once captivated Wall Street had become a cautionary tale. The Nikola scandal wasn't just about one truck. It wasn't even about one founder. It exposed something much bigger. How easily excitement can overpower evidence. How billion-dollar valuations can be built on promises instead of products. And how investors sometimes stop asking difficult questions when they fear missing the next big thing. Innovation is essential. Every revolutionary company begins with an ambitious vision. But a vision is not the same as reality. Technology must eventually work. Promises must eventually become products. And trust, once lost, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. The Nikola story reminds us that in business, appearances can be manufactured. Videos can be staged. Presentations can be polished, but gravity always wins. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more stories about billion-dollar scams, corporate frauds, and the biggest business disasters in history, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because sometimes, the biggest companies are built on the smallest lies. Nikola wasn't just a company that failed. It became a lesson in what happens when hype becomes more valuable than truth. For a brief moment, a startup with almost no proven products convinced investors it was worth more than one of America's oldest automakers. Not because of what it had built, but because of what people believed it might build. That's the dangerous side of modern markets. When greed replaces skepticism, billion-dollar valuations can rise on little more than promises. But reality has a way of catching up. Technology can be exaggerated. Presentations can be polished. Stock prices can soar. But facts don't negotiate. Sooner or later, every promise faces the same question: can you actually deliver? Nikola couldn't. And when the illusion collapsed, billions of dollars disappeared with it. At Greedonomics, we don't just tell stories about money. We uncover the psychology behind the world's biggest fortunes, boldest scams, and most spectacular corporate collapses. Because understanding greed is often the first step toward understanding economics. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Greedonomics, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the business stories that changed history. Until next time, remember, the biggest bubbles aren't built on innovation. They're built on belief. And when belief breaks, everything else follows.